Efficient herb run farming guide for Old School Runescape. Now I think it's fair to say that I've got a decent amount of experience with herb running in OSRS. Today I'm going to show you and teach you the methods I use to run herbs frequently, consistently, to not only get you a lot of farming experience, get you to that 99 and that farming cape, but also to make you some solid bank. This guide won't only explore the most efficient, sweaty methods, it will also provide low-level methods and equipment for those who no longer live in their mother's basements and those who don't need to shower for being so damn sweaty. Your first pieces of vital equipment is your rake, your seed dibber and your spade. If you need me to explain why you need these, uninstall the game, go back to Tutorial Island, do something else because this game isn't for you. Along with that is the magic secateurs. These provide an extra 10% yield for your herbs. You get these from the completion of Fairy Tale Part 1, not a guide for that. Just make sure you go and do Fairy Tale Part 1, it's an easy enough early to mid-game quest. Before you start efficient herb running, make sure to complete the quest, pick yourself up a pair of these green snippers, absolutely necessary. Next is your Harry Potter Abracadabra bucket. It fits an excessive amount of ultra compost into it and allows you to not need to fill up your inventory with compost. You can get this drop from Hespori in a drop of 1 out of 35. If you are a main struggling to get the drop, you can buy one of these Houdini buckets for less than 1 mil on the Grand Exchange. If you are an iron grinding Hespori, struggling to get a bucket, my best advice to you is to stop having shit RNG. Teleport methods are what make efficient farm runs quick. These are the teleport methods that you need, but I will go into further details about them shortly. Obviously you need herb seeds. My recommendation for money making are snapdragons, more commonly known as snappy Ds in my world, but if you have a lower farming level, granars are a good option too. Farmer Boy Cape and Construction Cape are added to this list purely because of their teleports. Additionally, the Farming Cape has a 5% chance to harvest extra herbs. I understand that not everyone has 99 farming or construction, but this is an in-depth efficiency guide. For those who don't have those capes or even any other method mentioned so far, there are alternate methods available to you which do include items such as Ultra Compost, Trollheim teleports, a skills necklace to get you to the farming guild, and POH teleports with your house having the transportation methods inside, such as your POH Xerix talisman or a portal method to get you to any mentioned herb patch. Okay, there are 10 herb patches in total around Old School RuneScape. For any mid to late game player, these are the 9 you will be focusing on. I will touch on the 10th patch at the end of this section. I've made a picture of the very specific farm patch with some absolutely shithole player photobombing every photo. Next to the photo I have placed the best teleport method to get to that farming patch. For example, the Trollheim teleport's best teleport method is a Stony Basalt. This also does require the completion of My Arm's Big Adventure quest. If you don't have Stony Basalt available for some silly reason, you need to use an alternate method, which is where my alternate methods come into play. In this example, you need to use a Trollheim teleport and run to the patch. The Explorer's Ring for the Falador patch has a diary requirement for the Lumbridge and Draenor diaries. If you complete the medium diary, you get 3 teleports per day to the patch. Once you do complete the hard diary, you get unlimited teleports. Similar thing does exist with the Ardoin diary. Medium gives you 3 teleports, hard gives you 5, and elite gives you unlimited teleports to the patch. Ultimately, if you haven't started or you do have the levels but just haven't completed your diaries, you are only hindering yourself by being a lazy piece of shit. Hurry up and do your diaries, you dickhead. The Farming Guild one states 65 farming is required, and that is because the herb patch is located in the intermediate tier in the guild. Your best teleport to the Farming Guild if you don't have the Farming Cape is a charge skills necklace. Lastly is the Harmony Island patch. This patch is unlocked only after the completion of the Mauritania Elite Diary, which does have a steep fishing level requirement of 96 or 91 boost with an Admiral Pie. For the casual player, this one is not the easiest patch to unlock. The next thing to talk about to enhance your herb crop capacity is your Anima patch in the Farming Guild, specifically the Ada seed. To get the seed, you first need to understand Hespori. Hespori is a mid-level boss found in the intermediate tier in the Farming Guild, therefore it does require 65 farming to be able to show the bitch who's boss. To be able to tackle Hespori, you need to gather Hespori seeds, which are found through various farming methods throughout OSRS, for which you will randomly gather them while doing the farming activities. When you have your seed, plant the seed in the Hespori patch, come back in about a day, and then you need to kill that plant bitch. There are 3 types of anima seeds you will get from killing Hespori. The only one I have ever used is the Ada seed, which gives a 5% yield increase, plant the Ada seed in the anima patch next to the Hespori cave, and then bam, more bloody herbs for you. Herb plant timings seem confusing at first, but I promise you they are not. All you need to remember are 3 times: the 11th minute, the 31st minute, and the 51st minute. Now what does my dumbass mean by that? If I plant a seed, no matter what the hour, the only time I need to look at are the minutes of that hour. The example being in this clip, I planted the seed to this patch in Y sometime between 7:51 and 8:10. The first cycle stage will occur at 8:11 exactly, not earlier and not later. Every cycle stage will happen in 20-minute intervals between that. But all you need to know is if you plant it between 7:51 and 8:10, your plant will then be ready to be picked at exactly 9:11. This works for every cycle. If I seed the patch at exactly 3:29, as long as the seed doesn't die, it will be ready to harvest at exactly 4:31. The easiest way to remember it is add an hour to the time you plant it and find the next 11 minutes, or 31st minute, or 51st minute. For your gear, full graceful along with the magic secateurs and your explorer's ring to save space is what you will equip. The farming cape is best to assist with max efficiency, but sub this out for an alternate cape if you don't have 99 farming. I haven't touched on birdhouse runs at this point because this is not a birdhouse run guide, but I set up my bank to allow me quick access to not only farm equipment, but for birdhouse run equipment at the end of my farm runs. I highly recommend doing birdhouse runs at the end of your farm run, so if you do want to optimize your strategy and save you some time, I recommend copying the way my bank is set out. Essentially, you want your teleports to be in your inventory in a way that they can be easily deposited. In this case, my 4 main teleports are on the right next to each other, so when the farm run is almost at the end, I can quickly switch over to my birdhouse run gear and continue without causing much disruption. You will see this in my full run very shortly. The last thing I want to talk about is how much money you can expect to make from this. Currently, a Snapdragon seed buys and sells averagely for somewhere between 45 and 47k, depending on the fluctuations and the market. With 10 full Snappy D seeds per run, that is somewhere between 450 and 470k per run. A Snapdragon herb buys and sells averagely between 8.2 and 8.4k averagely as of recently. The herb harvest amount is usually somewhere between 80 to 110 Snappy Ds depending on the success rate and yield amounts. The highest amount of Snappy Ds that I've ever pulled with all 10 patches is 129 Snappy Ds. Using 80 to 110 average herbs yielded, you are looking at about 650k and 925k per run. Minusing what you spent on the Snapdragon seeds, this equates to a total profit between 200 and 450k profit per hour. Although that might not seem like the highest, the amount of time put into it, you'll see that it is incredibly good money because the whole run takes somewhere between 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to run through this. I've got both runs here, a high efficiency with all patches. On the right you've got no Harmony Island and not all unlocked, so I'm just going to get this playing right now. Go. So both of them are starting with this very same route. They're both going to go to Trollheim, they're both going to go to Wise, both going to go to Mauritania, and essentially they stay with each other. There might be very slight timing differences. One might get a few more herbs, one might struggle to note the herbs that are getting there, but essentially they're going to stay together very close to begin with. This does change shortly when the routing changes, as you'll see very shortly. So the first thing to notice is the no Harmony Island, not all unlocked on the right hand side. You'll notice the inventory is a whole lot more full. That's because don't have the bottomless compost bucket, which is not uncommon, especially for Iron Men. It can be a pretty hard grind because you can only do it once per day. You can go pretty dry on it. I think I've got about 250 Hespori kills, and I've got 4 buckets, I think it is. Like, my account's pretty dry on it. I mean, I've got it, so I'm happy, and I'm a main, so I can just buy it, so I don't really care. But on the case you don't, you do get this exact example where you'll fill up with compost and whatnot and teleports because you don't have, say, the house unlocks, the necessary teleports that you need, and that fills your inventory up quite quickly. So in this case, I've put a fire cape on just to demonstrate that I don't have the normal capabilities. I'm trying to be a lower level player essentially. So this is why you have your rake right here, because sometimes a rake gets weed on it every 5 minutes, the 16th minute, 11th minute, 6th minute and 1st minute of the hour. So every 5-minute intervals you'll get a rake, so that's the reason why you bring your rake as well. So here they're both at the Falador farm patch, and essentially they're pretty tie for tight at this point. But after this patch is where things are going to start to change, and you'll notice a complete different routing way, because the high efficiency all patches just has shortcuts to everywhere, whereas the right hand side does not. In this case I got a cured diseased patch, so I can cure it pretty quickly and move straight on, whereas the one on the right can't go straight to the Ardoin patch, which is where the left side is. Instead, the right side has gone to Valamore instead and is running all the way to the Valamore farm patch. Now, the left one has already taken care of the Ardoin patch and is also at the Valamore patch, but has got there a lot faster with the Hunter Whistle. So they're both getting to the Valamore patch right now, and the left side's already one up essentially. There'll be a lot more running with the right hand side. A good alternate for the, I've got a fire cape just for the example, but as an Ardoin cloak as well. With the hard diaries you can still get to the Ardoin patch a lot faster, but I'm just trying to imitate a lower level that might not have access to all of these methods. So here, so the left one is in Farming Guild now, and I think the right one follows up pretty quickly as well from memory, because you've got to remember with the right hand side you also have to refill your inventory with the Ultra Compost again. So it's used all 5 of them, it needs to get another, in this case 4. I put 5 in there because I'm used to the Harmony Island patch, but it's only 4 more to go because the right hand side is not having access to Harmony Island in this instance. Right, so the left hand side I'm saying has access to the house, has access to teleport, spirit trees, everything, so pretty much straight to the house, Xeric's Talisman, straight to Xeric's Glade, and off to the Harmony, not the Harmony Island, the Hosidius patch, which is where I would also recommend to have your house, because you can easily get back into your house, especially high efficiency. That's where I've had my house the whole time, and it's just assisted with farm runs massively, as you'll see right here. I go straight back into the house and move to the next patch. The one on the right hand side, he's getting the inventory set up and does teleport to house, because Xeric's Talisman on a house isn't too difficult to get, but once again, if that's not available to you, have it in your inventory and you'll be fine. You'll see the left hand side is running straight to the house portal, which is, once again, I was just saying, house at Hosidius. It's pretty good, and the one on the right is just catching up now using that Xeric's Talisman in your house. So the one on the left only has 2 patches to go, Catherby, which is where it is now, and Harmony Island. The one on the right has Ardoin to go and Catherby as well. The problem with that is they're very far from each other. The one on the right does not have an efficient method to get to Ardoin, so how I used to do it before I had all the unlocks was you'd go straight from Catherby and run all the way to the Ardoin patch. So the one on the left is now teleporting back to the house. If you have a construction cape, you can just use the construction cape and go straight back to your house. Use the portal nexus and go straight to Harmony Island. Here you go right there, not sure if you saw that. If you didn't, wind back about 5 seconds, you'll see the switch with the birdhouse stuff that I was just mentioning. So I deposited the 2 basalts, the ectophile and the Ardoin cloak, and I had my bank also set up so I could just quickly get the chisel, the hammer, the bird seeds, and the 4 redwood logs and the dig site pendant. It took 3 seconds to do that process, and it just saves a whole lot of time. As soon as I note up these herbs, straight to Harmony Island, straight to Fossil Island, and do that birdhouse run. So the whole farm run is actually about to come to the end on the left. 6 minutes, look at that, and should be about time. Done. The whole thing's done for the birdhouse, the farm run on the left, and off to the birdhouse run. Whereas the one on the right, not only is it down the whole patch, it hasn't done the Harmony Island one, it's still running to the last patch, because teleport methods are everything with this. It makes it so fast and very necessary. I won't touch too much into the birdhouse runs. If you don't know about birdhouse runs, just look at what my character's doing. It's not hard. Chisel, hammer, seeds, logs, and dig site pendant, that's all you need. The one on the right should be coming to an end fairly shortly, because this is the last patch, No Harmony Island, and it will be going through the same process. It just needs to get to a bank and then teleport to Fossil Island to complete that birdhouse run as well. So pretty much as soon as the left one's finished, the right one will be starting that birdhouse run. So going to be noting it all then. If you didn't know, didn't really mention it, take your herbs, give it to the leprechaun, let him note them. You don't need to go to a bank, and they just stay in your bank. There you go. So the left one has finished overall 7 minutes and 6 seconds. That is a full farm run, 10 herb patches, and a birdhouse run. 7 minutes. It is so quick, so good, such good money for very minimal effort and very minimal time. The right one's just now doing the birdhouse runs, and we'll see what time he finishes on. And this just shows the difference in how fast it is with all the teleport methods in all the different ways. Do your diaries, get access to all the teleports, it's so worth it. 2 patches to go, 2 birdhouses to go, and then that will be all of them complete. Running to the last one here. So if you take anything from this, this makes good money with Snapdragons. It's good XP as well. I mean, you're not going to get the whole, you're not going to get 100k, 200k per day, but it's very fast and it stacks up rather quickly, and it makes you damn a lot of money. So much money. There you go, and the right one's about to finish as well. Boom. Finished. Alright guys, I hope you liked this video, and I hope it gave you some insight to get your herb farming runs done efficiently. If you enjoyed the video, please like, please subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment about anything new you learned about herb farming. Thank you, and take care, you dickheads.